Hope you're all well. Yes, I am fishing today. But before I get on to that, I'd just like to say a little thank you to all of you who've been watching my videos recently. It's been amazing. I wanted to grow the channel this year, and yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. There's been hundreds more subscribers on there, which is absolutely fantastic. So thanks ever so much, guys, for hitting that subscription button. For those of you that haven't subscribed, get on there and subscribe, and that way you won't miss any of my videos. You get a little notification to say I've posted a new video, so then you won't miss it. Anyway, guys, so thanks ever so much. Keep watching. There's going to be plenty more coming. Anyway, moving on from that, yes, I am fishing today. I'm on my way to Ferry Meadows. It's just an open match, not one that's been organised by the PDAA. Chris Hill's organised it. I think there's going to be about 20 of us on there today, 18 or 20. It's not a huge match. I did fish last week. It was my first time at Ferry Meadows last week. Wasn't really expecting there to be many fish caught, to be honest with you, because it's still March. It's still very early in the season for Ferry Meadows anyway, and it can be quite tough. But as it happens, there was a few fish caught, which was really good. Once again, there wasn't many of us, so they just split the match in half. One bank was one section, and the other bank was obviously the other section, and I was lucky enough to win my section. I was on peg 112, didn't have a bite until 1:30. Wasn't really comfortable with where I was fishing. I kept on picking up weed, but yeah, I kept on persevering, and managed to pick up a few fish in the end. Ended up with 44 pounds to win the section, so which was really good in the last 2 hours. And Nigel Pankhurst on the other bank had an absolute blinder of a day. Had 80 odd pound, about 86 pound. Probably could have had more if he missed a few fish. I think he dropped a few, so well done, Nigel. Excellent fishing. Since then, there's been a couple of people gone up there and sit where Nigel was, and they've absolutely emptied it. So there's obviously a few fish in that area. Don't know how it's going to fish today because the wind's changed. So I don't know if them fish are still going to be sat there or if they're going to get on the wind and move. You just never know at Ferry Meadows. So wherever I get drawn, I'll enjoy it because I love Ferry Meadows, and I'll just keep plugging away, and hopefully I'll have a few fish. You need to be drawn near some fish to do well, but you just never know at Ferry Meadows. So anyway, I'm on my way there now, and I shall see you at the draw. Right then, guys, wish me luck. Hands going in. Oh, look, they're all waiting with anticipation. What we got? Oh, I'll have that. 113. Happy days.
Go on, I'll go on 84, Boogie.
Right, let's get my name down. I'll see you in the bank. See you later. Right then, folks, I'm in the swim. Yes, always interesting here at Ferry Meadows. You have to sort of navigate all the rocks under the water. There's the swim there. You can see these big rocks here, these big boulders. Well, last week, believe it or not, those boulders there were underwater. That's how much water there was in there last week. So that was it's real hairy, scary stuff last week. But yeah, and last week I was literally in the peg just next door over there. So 112. Today I am, believe it or not, 113. So I've only ever drawn, all the years I fished Ferry Meadows, I've only ever drawn over here once before, and then in 2 matches I'll draw over here. So yeah, which is a bit strange, but it can be a good area. And what's really whetting my appetite is, if you have a little look, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but the wind is starting to blow this way. So that's always encouraging. Well, I didn't think it was going to be. I thought it was going to be blowing the other way, but we'll see. Yeah, well, you know, see if that changes. Hopefully it won't. I've seen 2 bream roll out there, but a long way out, so nowhere near where we're going to be fishing. But it's encouraging that they were kind of like out in the middle, so we can draw them towards us, hopefully, if that wind keeps blowing this way. So it is a little bit left to right, but it is coming this way definitely. So just have to keep our fingers crossed. Anyway, yeah, just go over a few bits and bobs. So ground bait, as you know, always use the same ground bait here. It's the peg number 1 stuff. So as you can see, I use peg number 1, that's the Bream and Skimmer mix, and the Mayhem Green, which you know is an awesome ground bait. I've used a 50-50 with them today, and I've also put in the Mayhem Betaine Green pellet soak, as you can see there. Nice bit of pellet soak, and that just really creates a lovely cloud when that goes down. I make sure the ground bait's nice and wet, and so it's very inert and it gets down. So and the other thing I'm going to be using today, which I did use last week, don't tell anyone, this is the it's the transformer liquid from peg number 1, and this is the betaine twist. So as you know, I always mix up a little pot, little ground bait bowl, or bait tub, with a real sloppy mix, just to create a little bit of a cloud in the water, and I empty that before it hits the bottom. So I tend to, as it hits the surface, I empty it. And what I've been doing, what I did last week, was added a bit of this green betaine to it as well, so it creates even more of a cloud. Seemed to work, so I'm going to use it again. Right, just take you over to the peg. Oh, navigate my way down here. Right, here we go. So rods and reels for the day. I'm set up one line at the moment, and that's at 43 meters. I'm using the Free Spirit High S power feeder. The important thing is it's the special, and this is 13 foot. I know I say it quite a lot, but I will reiterate it. They're awesome rods, Free Spirits. You just can't go wrong. They're just a different gravy, really, and anyone that buys them knows that. Hence the reason why they're just still selling loads and loads of them. So they really are a good rod. I've had these rods some time now as well, and the key thing for me is they've not gone soft. Because of the low resin content in these rods, they've kept their power, they've kept their shape, which means they've kept their casting accuracy, and that's the thing for me. It's that casting accuracy. I'm not the best caster in the world, and I really need these rods to help me. And all the rods I've had in the past, after sometimes 6 months up to 18 months, they go soft, and they're still good rods, but they're just no good for casting. They can get the distance, but they're just all over the place. And whereas these really help and aid your casting. And I've had these rods probably 3 years now, and they're just as good as they were when I bought them new. Anyway, the reason I'm using the special and not the distance for my fishing is because the special, although it's the power feeder, it's the special version, not the distance, and it's just a lot more progressive. The action on it's a lot more progressive. So when you're hooking it, you know, you've got one of them big bream on, you want that rod to take them lunges, and the special does that. It's still got a really good backbone in it to get you out there where you need to go, but it's also got a lovely progressive action. The other rod I've got is basically, it's an identical rod, apart from, as you see, it's obviously it's the High S power feeder, but this is the distance. Now it's okay if you're fishing for carp, it's an awesome rod for carp, but the reason I'm using that rod, as you can see here, I've got a big bait up feeder on it, and that's what I'm going to be doing with that. That's going to be my bait up rod. It's a much stiffer action, not as progressive, awesome for casting, hence the reason why it's really good for for method feeder fishing for carp at distance, but it's not what I need here for fishing for the bream. So what I do use it for is baiting up. It's brilliant for that. So like I say, I'm not casting far today. I've had a little feel out there, and I found a nice bit of gravel at about 40 meters. So I've gone just beyond that, about 42, 43 meters. So I'm gonna give it a go there. Last week I was fishing considerably further than that, but one of the reasons was, although it's only next door, there was a lot of weed out in front of me, and I had to go beyond that. Ended up at 70 meters in the end, chasing the fish out. So don't like doing that if I haven't got to. If I can still keep in that same hole and just keep bringing them fish to me, that's how I prefer to fish. Right, let's get up on the box and have a little look at the bait. If I don't fall in, here we go. Right, this is the ground bait mix. This is my tub here. What I'm going to be doing is taking some of this and really slopping it up in there. And like I said before, going to be using the old transformer liquid, so betaine twist, just to add a real nice bit of cloud to it. And there you go, this is a ground bait mix. As you can see, it's very wet, very inert. It's not really wet, but it is wet, and it's quite inert, and that's just going to get down lovely. I will I've got my atomizer, and I will spray that up a little bit as that starts drying out, because obviously it's been sitting there probably for about 20 minutes now. So what have we got? We've got about another 15 minutes to go before we start. So yeah, I will be adding a little bit more water to that. So floating reds there. So that can be key if the fish are up in the water. Stick a few of them on the hook, and although they don't float, but they take their time to come down, and sometimes they can just draw them bream down and produce a bite. Got me dead reds, so obviously, and then I've got the old wriggly ones, wriggly reds there. So 3 lots of different types of reds. Got some pinkies as well if it's really tough and need to start, you know, having a look for some smaller fish if that's what's out there. The old pinkies can work. The old crunchy casters, brilliant for putting in a feed. And last week I actually caught fish on caster, which is very unusual for me here. It's not something I normally use, but yeah, I was struggling. Like I say, I didn't get a bite till 1:30. So got my bag of worms there, got a kilo underneath there. I've actually got some more worms in there which I'm gonna chop up soon, ready for my old chop worm. So yes, that's me, ready to go almost. So I'm just gonna yeah, chop a few worms up and yeah, get ready. So I should come back to you with it all in. See you later. Right, that'll do for me baiting up. Apart from I'm going to put a couple of sloppy ones out there, and then I'll start fishing. Hopefully, come back to you with a fish on. Wish me luck, guys. Right then, folks, something I didn't go over is I'm actually using a helicopter rig. You probably can't see it all that well, so I do apologise. But the reason I use that here is when you're casting, I mean, I know I'm not casting massive distance today, but the wind is blowing in my face. That's my main line here, coming onto my feeder. And then this, if I can get my hook out of here, this is my hook length, and it just spins around and it just stops all the tangles. It's a little bit different on the old bite indication, but Ferry Meadows, the bites are normally pretty positive. So I always tend to fish a helicopter rig in now on my longer line. If I fish a shorter line, I don't worry. So, but there we go. And also something I didn't mention before is the tip I'm using is just a 1 ounce tip, and it's obviously it's a carbon, so it's a fairly stiff tip, but it's only 1 ounce, but it's hollow, casts really well, and because it's only 1 ounce, it's quite sensitive. So anyway, I've had 1 cast so far, 6 minutes, didn't go round, no liners or anything. So we go again. There we are. Let's hope it goes round this time, guys. Come back to you in a bit. Well, would you believe it was out there about 10 seconds and it went straight round. Just hoping I've not foul looked it. Feels like a good fish. As long as the swan don't get caught in my line. And that's suspected. It's foul looked. But they all count. Actually, I lie. It's in the mouth. It's right in the mouth, but the line had got wrapped round the fish. There we go, guys. Let's get some more. Come back to you in a bit. Right, it's gone round again. Next cast, guys. It's not a big one this time. It feels like a decent sized skimmer. It's out there a bit longer. 3 minutes. That's a good sign. There's a few fish around. There you go, guys. Well, a bit of an update, guys. We're an hour and 15 minutes in, and as you can see, I apologise for the quality of on the lens if it's a bit mucky, but yeah, the heavens have opened and it's pouring down with rain. I haven't had any more bites. I've had a couple of liners, so there's definitely a few fish roaming around out there. But I haven't had any more bites. Rob next door, not long after I caught my two, he had a decent sized skimmer as well, but he's not had another bite since. The chap next door to me on my right has had a bream, just out of the blue, and nothing else. But as far as I know, on this bank, that's all that's been caught. There's definitely been some fish caught on the other bank, but we don't know how many. The guy next door to me reckons he's seen someone catch 3 in about 20 minutes. So yeah, so there's a few fish over there as well. But yeah, I had them first 2 fish and thought we was going to be away, but yeah, only a couple of liners since. So I've just put a bit more feed out there, not a lot, but I've just used my bait up feeder, put a couple of more out there, and another sloppy mix over the top, and yeah, just see if we can get them fish get their heads down. Next plan of attack, if that don't work, is to just go over to a window feeder, just to see if putting a window feeder on makes a difference. Don't like to do that too early because I like to get a bit of bait out there with my normal conventional feeder. So yeah, keep going, fingers crossed it goes round again. See you later. Well, it took a while, guys, but just had a couple of liners. One really big liner. Next door's just caught a bream, and yeah, next cast it's gone round. So that's now my second bream. I've had a skimmer and I've had a roach as well. So, right, gonna get this in the net and go again. Come back to you in a bit, guys. That's the third decent bream. Keep going. Right guys, well that's 5 good bream now, and I've had 1 skimmer, as you know, early on, and I've had 3 roach as well. So chap next door to my right's had 5 bream as well. I think Rob's still on a skimmer and a small hybrid, and Sean, 2 to my right, is on 1 bream as far as I know. Wasn't able to film the bream I caught just before that one because my battery ran out, so which didn't help. But, just don't really feel like they're still settled properly, so we'll keep going, see how we get on. Come back to the bit. Skimmer guys. Clive next door's got 5 bream. Sean beside him now's on 5 bream. Seems to have got the bigger bream settled on him at the minute. So got a bit of a battle on our hands. Let's keep going. See if I can win that battle. Right then folks, just under an hour and a half to go. I've had 6 decent bream, 3 skimmers and 3 roach at the moment, so yeah, just can't seem to get them to really settle. Chasing them out, I had 2 on a trot and then it's just gone quiet again, so it's a bit strange. I just don't want to keep pushing them too far, so because there's still an hour and a half to go. Sean, to my right, I think he's had 6 or 7 bream. He's 2 swims to my right. Clive next to me, I think, has had 4 or 5. So yeah, a bit of a touch then. It's oh, and again, yeah, it's quite tight at the moment. A bit of life in it, that one. Right then guys, that's it, all out. I had one literally as I lifted the rod for the all out. I had a little indication just before it, and then it was all out, and as I lifted it, the fish was actually on, so that was a result. It's only a skimmer, but more than welcome. Lost count actually, which is nice. how many fish I've had. I think I've had sort of about 7 decent bream, and probably 5 or 6 skimmers. Yeah, so you never know. Sean's probably, he's had all big bream, so, and I know he's definitely had 8, if not more. So I don't know anyone else that's caught more than that anywhere on the lake at the moment from what we're hearing, but you just never know. So I'll come back to you at the weigh-in and then in the car park to see how I've done. Catch you later. Well then folks, but you wondered what was going on. So it's actually the day after the match, Sunday today. I couldn't do my outro, a few reasons why. We had a bit of a problem with the scales yesterday, so we had to wait a long time for the scales to come round from the other side of the lake. So time was ticking on. By the time we got back to the car park and obviously got everything loaded up in the vehicles, it was starting to get a bit dark. And then on top of that, Sean Connolly, who won the match, and I'll go over that in a minute with you, his van wouldn't start, so then we had to, I've got a jump start kit, so we managed to get it started eventually. By the time we'd done that, and then there was an almighty storm that come over, and it was just black, and there was no light, so there was no point trying to film an outro with you, so I thought I'd do it this morning. So anyway guys, yeah, scores on the doors. So as you know, I was on peg 113. Rob Pullen to my left managed a couple of bream right at the end, last hour. They finally started moving across to him, much to his frustration. He was getting a bit frustrated during the day why he just couldn't get bites, yet I seem to be getting them. So that is Ferry Meadows for you. Clive to the right of me had 5. He then had a bit of a mare halfway through and got cut off with some muscles, and by the time he sort of got set back up again, the fish had moved on to Sean. We were to the right of him, so that's 2 pegs to my right, Sean Connolly, and he ended up with 10 big lumps, 10 or 11 big lumps for £61 and won the match. So well done Sean. I came 3rd in the match, believe it or not. I ended up with, I think it's either 13 or 14 bream, but a lot of them were skimmer bream, sort of £2, £2.5, £3. I hardly had any big uns really, sort of 6-pounders. So I caught a lot more fish, but unfortunately they just weren't the stamp I needed to win the match anyway, although it was nice to catch fish. So I ended up catching them, and I had 3 roach I think in the end for £52, just over £52. On the far bank, on the opposite side, in what we thought were going to be the hot pegs that didn't fish all day, right in the last hour, I think Chris had 1 or 2 fish leading up to the last hour. In the last hour they just sat on him, and he ended up with 9 big lumps for £54, so he comes 2nd, so well done Chris. So it just goes to show at Ferry Meadows, you should never pack up early, and you should never give up, because literally the last sort of 15-20 minutes they can just suddenly come and sit on you, and you might only need 1 or 2 fish, so you should always fish it out. So in the money again, so which is good, but 3rd place this time. So but yeah, really pleased that peg number 1 bait worked again. The rods were awesome again. Several people stood behind me watching me cast, and it was just effortless. I wasn't casting a long way, but yeah, just effortless. And yeah, there's going to be a few more free spirit rod sales I believe off the back of the match yesterday, so which is good. So anyway guys, yeah, that's it. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. I certainly enjoyed making it, so which is really good. It's always a bit of pressure when you're videoing to catch a few fish for you guys, so I hope you've enjoyed it, because there was a few there. Anyway, yeah, like I say, I've enjoyed making it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I really would like you to subscribe. I'm really trying to grow the channel this year, and it's been absolutely superb. I can't thank you all enough. I've had well over 200 new subscribers. We had 270 new subscribers in the last month, so thanks ever so much guys, really appreciate that. Thousands of you watch these videos, and I really would like you to get on there and subscribe to them. It helps me produce these videos, and it also helps you guys, because you never miss them, because you get a notification to say I put a new video out there. So yeah, so please hit subscribe if you've enjoyed the video guys and you want to see more of them, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys in the swim soon. Adios.